as we welcome our viewers in the Gambia and around the world, this is the News Review Show. My name is Lamin Jai. Coming up on the show, Gambia government is yet to issue a statement on the OIC debacle, but Gambians continue to react to the issue. Also coming up, Ramadan has entered a second week. We have been talking to Gambians regarding how they are faring. First, we will take a look at the papers, and I'll begin with the Standard newspaper. The Standard newspaper today, 15th May 2019, is reporting that NAMS give mixed bag of recommendations to CRC. GT board says EJ investment Sanyang estate not within TADA. Chonsek faces 2 years in jail. Dabo calls for removal of serving officers implicated at TRRC. So I will go through some of the stories on the Standard. Dabo calls for removal of serving officers implicated at TRRC. UDP leader Usainu Dabo has opined that serving security officers implicated in committing heinous crimes or atrocities at the ongoing Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission should be sent home. If I were the president today, those uniformed officers would not have been in their offices today. I would have sent them home, and after the investigations, we will decide what to do with them. They should not remain there collecting salaries while their victims are suffering. This is not correct, Dabo said in a Sen FM exclusive interview to be aired this Sunday. The veteran lawyer said the terrible things that happened in the Gambia in the 22 years of Jammeh's rule have never happened in this country. Imagine killing people and cutting their legs when burying them. I never thought a Gambian can be that wicked. Defending the establishment of the TRRC, Dabo said if there was no TRRC, people would not have known the atrocities that were committed in Jammeh's 22 years rule. Yes, it is very sad to hear the testimonies, but I think overall the TRRC is doing a good job, and I believe if anyone thinks what they are doing is not constitutional, you can go to the Supreme Court and challenge it. I am sure if they reach the August 2009 executions and the way they forcefully took these people out of their cells and killed them, you will not be able to imagine that Gambians we sit and eat with every day are capable of committing such heinous crimes, he asserted. NAMS give a mixed bag of recommendations to CRC, that's the National Assembly members there. They had a consultation with the Constitution Review Commission. National Assembly members yesterday made divergent recommendations to the Constitutional Review Commission. Member for Wuli East, Suwaibu Ture, said for the parliament to enjoy complete independence from the executive, the president should not select or nominate members because it is the same National Assembly members or the same National Assembly that is required to perform an oversight function and scrutiny over the executive. To recommended proportional representation for bringing in marginalized groups instead of presidential nominations. Member for Central Badibu, Suleiman Saho, suggested that special bodies and not the president should nominate members. He argued that if the president is allowed to nominate, then he would naturally reserve the right to revoke such nominations. GT board is also saying that EJ Investments, that's a real estate company, their Sanyang estate is not within the TDA. Abdullah Hydra, the Director General of the Gambia Tourism Board, has confirmed to the Standard yesterday that the much talked about EJ Investments estate in Sanyang does not lie within tourism development area, that's the TDA. However, he said S&J Properties and Dabo Jula's estate agencies' lands in Sanyang are affected. Last week, GT board released a press statement in which they reported that estate agencies such as EJ Investments, S&J Properties and Dabo Jula's were selling landed properties in the tourism development area, notably Tanji, Bato Kunku, Tujeren Katong, and Sanyang. The Standard is also reporting that GDC chairman who cross-carpeted to the President Barrow Youth for National Development has converted again to GDC. Panget, the GDC Old Yundum constituency chairman who made headlines 2 months ago when he and others joined the Barrow Youth movement. Their name actually is President Barrow Youth for National Development, has returned to the fold of the royal purples. Modu MC Cham, GDC Youth President cum spokesman, told the Standard yesterday that Nget has abandoned BYM and returned to GDC. When contacted, Nget confirmed, saying, "I have come back wholeheartedly with a renewed focus." So the Standard is also reporting that Senegalese musician who has over 40 decades under his belt as a musician, that is Thione Seck, faces 2 years in jail. Senegalese musician Thione Seck, a member of the legendary Baobab Orchestra of the 1970s, appeared in court in Dhaka on Thursday, claiming to be the victim of a fraudulent counterfeit scam dating back to 2015. Prosecutors at the Dhaka Criminal Court have demanded a 2-year prison sentence for the 64-year-old. He had spent 9 months in pretrial detention following his arrest on 27 May 2015. The prosecutors also demanded a 5-year prison sentence for his co-defendant, Malian Alei Jite, who was detained after materials that could be used to make counterfeit money, including inks, scanned banknotes, and counterfeit banknotes were found with him in June 2015. The court is expected to hand down the sentences on 23rd May. That will be that for the Standard newspaper. The next newspaper I have is the Point newspaper. The Point is reporting that CRC President's nomination powers generate debate at Assembly, Lands Ministry in legal tussle, Gambia to expect first rains in mid-June, Tourism Minister acknowledges ex-VP Davos' generosity. So the Minister of Lands, or the Lands Ministry, Justice Ibrahim Asjete of the High Court in Banjul, has ordered that a hearing notice be served on the Ministry of Local Government and Lands to enable them defend the civil suit filed by one Jere Jallo. Justice Jete made this order yesterday in the matter between the applicant, Jere Jallo, and the respondent, that is the Minister of Local Government and Lands. Justice Jete disclosed that on the 16th April 2019, one Fatu Jany, a secretary at the Ministry of Local Government and Lands, was served with a hearing notice, but neither has any lawyer from the Attorney General's chambers nor an official from the Ministry of Local Government and Lands appeared before the court. The applicant counsel, lawyer Malik Jallo, informed the court that the Lands Ministry was served with the processes but had refused to appear before the court. Lawyer Malik Jallo submitted to the court that there is a motion on notice and that the said motion on notice is supported by paragraph 16 of the 16th of the affidavit deposed by the applicant, Jere Jallo, on the 26th November 2018. So that's a legal tussle there between one lady or one man, Jere Jallo, and the Minister of Local Government and Lands. So on some agricultural news, Gambia to expect first rains in mid-June by Pamodu Cham. The first showers of the 2019 rainy season expected around mid-June in parts of the Upper River and Central River regions. Dr. Bamba Banjat, as the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Fisheries, made this disclosure on Tuesday while presenting the 2019 rainy season climate forecast at the Department of Water Resources in Banjul. He outlined that to understand the forecast, one must understand that seasonal forecasting relies on prediction of averages over space and time and may not reflect all the various factors that influence regional and national climate differences. So that will be all for the newspapers. We'll quickly move to our first story. It has been almost a week since it emerged that the Gambia will no longer host the OIC summit. This is one of the biggest gatherings of Islamic countries around the world. But Gambians have been expressing or voicing their views with regard to this issue. More in this report.
Despite the lack of official acknowledgement for the Gambia's failure to host the Organization of Islamic Conference Summit in the country, it has now become apparent that the Gambia could not now host the OIC's largest meeting of rulers and heads of governments due to lack of adequate infrastructure. The OIC has a membership of 57 states in 4 continents and is the largest intergovernmental organization in the world. OIC Summit takes policy decisions and provides guidance on all issues pertaining to the realization of its objectives as provided for by the OIC Charter and consider other issues of concern to the member states and the Islamic Ummah. The OIC Summit is held once every 3 years, and the Gambia, under Yahya Jammeh, has made strenuous efforts to host the largest Islamic conference on its soil. It was much hype and excitement when it was announced that the country will host one of the largest Islamic convergences in its confines. Consequently, the Gambia embarked upon large-scale, ambitious infrastructural project implementation as a way of ensuring successful hosting of this summit. The projects touted for the 2019 proposed OIC Summit in Banjul include the construction of an international conference center, a state-of-the-art hotel for the expected 1,000 delegates, new VIP terminal, as well as airport terminal renovation. However, 5 months ahead of the OIC meeting slated for November of this year, it became clear that the Gambia lacks the capability to host the meeting. The Gambia government is set to issue a public statement as to why this much hyped meeting of rulers and heads of government of Islamic nations could not take place on its soil as slated. But some members of the general public have spoken on the Gambia's missed opportunity.
Like most Gambian, I think we were looking forward to it. We were so excited that Gambia is going to host such a big event, and that would have projected Gambia in the world, to the world rather. And some 2-3 days ago, I'm not really sure, we had this news. So it was like devastating. People were really, really shocked. And I think it's a bad news. I think it's a bad news. We needed to host it. We needed to bring all those people to our country. We needed to sell our country. We needed to show the whole world what Gambia is and who we are as Gambians. We needed to show them the true Gambia, which I think the whole world need to know. And Gambia is one of the most amazing places to visit. So I don't know what happened, and unfortunately, we had this bad news. Officially, they didn't give us much reason, and according to the press release, I think, or I'm not sure, but speculating here we had. But people are developing their own ideas of this might be what happened, the reason why this program is not hosted in the Gambia. But one thing for sure, if we were hosting the OIC, the infrastructure needed to be there, and the infrastructure is not there. So I don't know how we're going to host a program without the infrastructure. So one, the infrastructure is not there. Two, and the euphoria, the build-up. You cannot have this kind of massive program been hosted in a country 6 months down the line, nobody's talking about it.
Ning Islamic be mu nyanta ke jala bayo o manyan diala moye Gambia jang. Bari ndenga je ko nyanta mun kala doron Gambia ndolji ko mun tibiru ni wala mukadua. Hani mbinga duwa ndo asakeno nyina mbaida. Next time asakeno jang baro kana ke moye ko chancellor imaja baida imaja te hani Gambia mu Gambia dronet. Fofe na ke da Gambia jang Gambia bele kaynda je. Fefe nim fotala Gambia jang mbele fotala so to Gambia dul nyanta mun jeton nyanta mun so nim ma so don akana ke moye don dawti o ay ke moye jusulatu o ay ke moye imaje nyinkata no nyanta mun mila don wala say mbe mun kela fo ay ke kotake.
So the Gambia government is yet to issue any official statement on this issue. But then I have Coach Pasamba Jau on the line. He will provide us with some insight. Hello, Coach. Good afternoon. Coach, are you there? Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Coach. So on this issue of the OIC, people are calling it a failure. Is it really a failure that the Gambia will not host this event this year?
I would not say that it's a total failure. I think it is a missed opportunity, but all indications are we'll have an opportunity to host it again in the next 3 years. I think it happens every 3 years. So looking at it from that angle is not a failure, and I think this is where the government could have just easily come out and explain to the people what had happened, and then people will move on.
Yes, I was coming to ask you on that because it is almost a week since news emerged that the Gambia will not be hosting this summit. We have tried to reach out to the government on this, but they have been so far mute on the issue. What do you make of that?
Well, I think if there is one problem that this government has is how they always make very simple matters so complex and difficult. First of all, the hosting of the OIC requires a lot of things. Yes, it is a massive undertaking. And I think what they should have done, if I were President Barrow, I understand that over the weekend or so he was very angry at the State House because he was not very pleased with the messaging on this matter and how the government allowed other news mediums to set the narrative. But you see, that's not the issue. I think if I were the government, what I would have done would be come to the government and say, look, when we came to power, the president that was here or the government that was here had already started the initiative to host the OIC. We also felt that it was an important undertaking for our country. So we were on the path of making it happen, and this is why today everybody knows that they're constructing the massive all-purpose center or whatever they call it, conference center. But because of constraints, financial constraints and other issues, we have decided it has become necessary to not host it this year, but wait at least for the next 3 years. And this is why we will not be hosting it in 2019. We will be working with our partners to host it in 2022. When you say that, every Gambian in their right mind would say, you know what, that makes sense, because we all know that we are not in a very strong financial footing to host it. But to just leave it linger and try to spin it, I don't think is going to help the situation. So the government is not helping itself by its continued insistence of not saying anything, because all that does is to just
Are you there, Coach? We will try to get back to Coach, if we can. Indeed, no one would like to take pleasure in the country's, what people are calling failed bid to host the summit. But then sources close to the corridors of powers have indicated or have confirmed that the Gambia will go ahead and host the event in 2021. I think Coach is back on the line. Coach, are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I had an incoming call that interrupted.
Okay. Let me ask you this: is it what do you think is the reason why the Gambia is not going ahead to host this summit? Is it because the infrastructure is not there? What really, in your opinion, what really do you think is the problem?
We are not ready. We are not ready. And I agree with Mr. Gano, the guy that was just interviewed. The infrastructure is not there. And this is a massive undertaking. You're talking about all the Islamic countries in the world. You know, you're talking about head of states that are supposed to be traveling. You're talking about the security. You're talking about the roads. So it's a massive undertaking. So we are not ready financially. We are not ready economically. We are not ready. In fact, infrastructurally, we are not ready to host it. So that is understandable. That is normal. So what you do is you just come and be honest to the people and say, listen, we wanted to do this because these are the benefits of having it. But due to such and such and such a problem, such and such problems that we have encountered and continue to encounter, we've decided that the best thing to happen is to host it maybe 3 years down the line. That would give us enough opportunities to be able to do that. But so that's it. We are not ready, and everybody knew this. And guess what? The worst kept secret in the Gambia, other than Mr. Dabo was going to be fired by Barrow, was that Gambia would not be hosting the OIC. Everybody knew that, because we all are Gambians. We've been following developments, and people had gone to the OIC website and saw that their event in November would be in Jeddah. So it's not a secret. So I'm thinking that if I were Mr. Barrow and his government, come out and explain to the Gambian people, and let's move on.
So let me ask you, what is also known is that this project of having the OIC take place in the country was in fact spearheaded by the former regime. That's the government of President Yahya Jammeh. They were the ones who negotiated that this event be held in the Gambia. But what we have seen is that a lot of the blame is being placed on this government. Do you think it is the government of Barrow that should be blamed, because this is a government that just came in just a little over 2 years ago? So do you think that government would have the capacity to put in place all the infrastructure for this summit?
Well, yes, I think they deserve the blame for the simple fact that when they came, they owned it. And in fact, it's been touted as one of their successes, hosting the OIC, building the multi-purpose conference center. So they've owned it. Even though it was a project that was initiated by the former regime, this government could have come in place and tell the OIC, and listen, based on what you've inherited as a country, we will ask to not host it now, but to postpone it to the subsequent ones. There were Gambians who suggested that. Online, I've seen a lot of Gambians who suggested maybe it's not a good idea to host it now. Let's wait until down the line to do it. But unfortunately, this government also came and just dove right in it and then started touting it as a success. So if it fails, definitely, yes, they should be blamed for it. But to me, I don't see it as a total failure. What I've seen is a realignment. Because of they wanted to do it, realities are financially we may not be able to do it, economically we may not be able to do it, or it's not lost. Let's look down the line, maybe in 3 years or in 6 years, and host it. At the end of the day, if they feel that it is that important to host, hey, the opportunities are there to host it, but let's be ready before we get into it.
So from here forward, what do you think should be done by this government? Because what is also emerging is that this government wants to has interest in hosting the next one, which will come in 2021.
I think what they really need to do is to be transparent with the Gambian people, to be honest with the Gambian people. Let them do a very thorough study and know exactly whether we have what it takes to host it before they make any more pronouncements. Let them come to the Gambian people and say, these were the reasons why it did not happen this year, but these are the measures that we are taking so that when it is to be hosted in 3 years, I've seen somebody say 2020, I think the next one will be 2022. When we are doing it in 3 years, we have already secured this many funds, we will be able to do this, this is our plan. That must happen. They cannot just come and tell people, you know what, we are confident that we'll host it in 2021 or 2022, and then down the line you have a problem. I believe that whatever pronouncement a government makes, they must have done the feasibility studies. They must have had concrete ideas and information that they will tell to the population so that they will buy it. But if they fail the next time again, nobody would listen to them. But most importantly, Mr. Jai, is for this government to learn to be transparent with the Gambian people. Just be honest with us. We all know what we inherited. We know that. Don't try to sell us something that is not real. Tell us the facts. If you do not have the money, you do not have the money. But don't also tell us you do not have the money and start living extravagantly. But if they start to be honest, you don't have to spin anything. Tell us directly what the problems are, and we will deal with them. But don't try spin. The biggest problem with this government is spinning, and they cannot spin. And like I've always argued, if there is one thing that Gambians have learned over the past 22 years, is to be able to decipher misinformation or propaganda. Jammeh had used this, and we've been able to decode it. So you don't have to play that book. Tell us the facts, and we'll deal with them, period. I would respect you more if you tell me the undiluted truth, rather than trying to, deceive me into believing things that are not real.
Coach Pasamba Jau, thank you very much for providing us with that insight there.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Jai. Thank you.
Coach Pasamba Jau there, speaking to us from the United States. So we'll move on to our next story. Fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam and is therefore of immense importance to Muslims. So 10 days into this year's Ramadan fast, the Fatu Network has been out and about to talk to Gambians as to how they have been coping.
Weeru koor bi alhamdulillah dugal nañ ci jaama ñu jeexal ko ci jaama waaye difficult bi mooy bagage yi seer nañ jën amut ba pare motu tamit def de difficult waaw so ba pare waaye jën tamit amut waaw ba pare yu sew yëpp ñu ngi leen teg yëpp a ngi seer waaw loolu laaj ñu ngi ko yokka mu ngi seer waaw te si weeru koor lañ nekk dañ war a wàññi bagage yi waaw waaye bagage yi daal difficult bi daal ganaar rek ngaa gis doo gis jën doo gis dara waaw yu sew yi tamit i kakumba rek ngaa gis waaw yëpp ñu ngi ko seeral waaw so li ma doon xelal nit ñi daal du weeru koor jotee dañ war a wàññi bagage yi dimbale nit ñi parce que lii weeri dimbalante la waaw waaye ku nekk weer bi la dee xaar doo demee marché da ngaa wër a wër ba taay doo xam looy toog a jëg ganaar rek ngaa gis si marché bi.
waaw sant yàlla rek ndaxte heure bi daaw am na ñoo xam ne fekke woon nañ ko te ren fekke wuñ ko am na ñoo xam ne war nañ ko ba mu jeex dara jotu leen tey ñu ngi ci kaw lali lopitaan yi am na ñoo seen kër yi mënuñoo génn yow bu la suñ borom kàttanalee nga am kàttan am sa wér gu yaram génn de weer woor bi ni nga ko war weer bi ni nga ko war a woore suñ borom dimbale la ba li ci suñ borom santaane yëpp nga mën a góorgóorlu ndax sax doomu aadama mënta def lépp waaye nga mu góorgóorlu sa ként laay kàttan suñ borom jàppale la comme que ñu ngi ciy jéem rek sant yàlla ndax am na ñu ko bëgg te amuñu ko. weeru koor suñ borom da ciy jàngale lim si jàngale mooy loo muñ mu jeex ndaxte toujours rek yàlla bu ñuy bàyyi ñooy lekk di naan du ñu xalaat tamit ne leneen lu metti mi ngi ci kanam waaye day baax tey suñ borom woon la lii bu subaa mu woon la li moo tax mu indi weeru koor nag lim miin mooy loo muñ mu jeex juróom-ñeenti fan a ngi nii ndékkiwuloo añuloo ndogu ngay def waaw léegi nag bu la suñ borom teree loolu moon boobu noonu nga toog doo ndékki doo añ bu ngoon jotee nga ndogu mu jékki-jékki joxaat la beneen weer boo xam ne da nga xëy ndéew añ ba suur njoganalu reer waaw loolu li muy tekki mooy loo muñ mu jeex rek waaw bu ko defee da ngay mën a fàttalikuwaat suñu borom xam ne kat nit ki loo mën di nekk am na koo xamante ne si mi ngi ci leneen lu naqari su boobaa tamit dana la jàngal pour nga mën a bàyyi xel tamit ñu nekk sa ginnaaw koo tane mën koo dimbale.
sunkaro mba balu kan alhamdulillah kaatu bari atewo kay pour ay stade wala koleada barna stade taw koni ku tumando alala demaro kamma ni la may ko roke ana ma takama ko roke jele ela ko dol ka sone ala abe bu ka sone ano sakura ni bulo me ko be mbagi barna ra ko me misal fe ko ite abe ngani o kono ko e nyanda sunnale andi bakan ye fon control i kabiri because i kafalo kabiri dato foi nyato foi kenyato foi tadla foi be kala o kala nyaado nyama isalon ko ye fan control ni yawa tumando alale ka suma muta bari sela ngani o ke yake tumando alal demaro kama ite kamen nyini be osurlale.
Despite the lack of.
So with that we come to the end of today's news review. That will be that. So tomorrow Omawale will be here. Thank you very much. My name is Lamin Jai. Goodbye.